r/AskReddit, Australians of Reddit, what is the scariest encounter you've had with one of the native animals? I had just come home after a long bicycle ride. I took my shoes off and just forgot to bring them inside afterwards. 2 days later I was about to go on another bicycle ride, so needed my shoes. I put my left one on with no problems, but felt something a little squishy when putting my foot into my right shoe. I immediately took my foot out to discover it to be covered in at least 100 baby spiders, and a larger redback spider came scuttling out of the shoe. Don't leave your shoes outside, or at the very least check them, unlike me. GAHHHH nightmare fuel. Holy fuck. I am squirming and itching just reading this. I was driving on a straight and sealed road through barren land and had not seen anything on the road or to either side for about half an hour when I had to decelerate heavily to avoid driving into a group of half a dozen emus who were startled and who scattered in all directions. I think you mean they took military action and stealthily dispersed as the enemy approached from the south. They never signed a declaration of peace. The war rages on for the evasive emu population. The worst thing with emus is when they run in front of your car for a while then cut right across in front of you. It may work against predators, but judging from all the corpses on that stretch of outback highway, it doesn't work so well against trucks. Came home from work and went to step outside to enjoy the garden when I noticed an intense buzzing. I look down and there's a spider wasp and a huntsman spider having a Godzilla, King of the Monsters showdown, wrestling all over the patio area. The spider wasp stung the huntsman into submission and dragged it over to a hole in the wall. I later learned that the spider wasp lays her eggs in the barely living body and uses it as an incubator. Nice. In another huntsman incident, the one I keep in my garage dropped into my lap from the sun visor in my car as I reversed out of my driveway. I screamed for a bit before scooping him up and popping him back in the garage. I warned him not to get in my car again. Anyone watching would have found a grown man lecturing a fucking huge spider a bit weird. I do generally like them though, hence not killing it. I've also been chased by an emu while cycling a few times. They're fucking deranged. WTF? Where do you cycle? Did you tell the emu not to chase you again without a helmet? Why would the emu need a helmet? While I was mowing, saw a snake. Thought it was a red-bellied black snake. Get them all the time. So I took a stick and hit the ground near it to scare it off. Fucking thing arced up, hissed and charged at me. I took off. It was a tiger snake. They're aggressive bastards too. Had one rear up at me when I was looking for my ball at the golf course one day. I let him keep it. Yeah, tiger snakes will chase. Mean fuckers. Not a nice mistake to make. Lived in the outback. Was just minding my own business walking past the local cinema and a 6-foot emu came running out from behind a tree and nearly knocked me down. Scared the absolute crap out of me. Follow up. Emus were not supposed to be in the township. There was a fence to keep them out, so town services had to forcibly evict it. They achieved this by driving up close to it, throwing a noose around its neck, quickly winding up the windows and slowly escorting it out of town. Bad idea. They are surprisingly strong and it kicked in the whole side of the vehicle in the process. They must have been a rebel faction from the Great Emu War. Came home after 2 weeks away. My parents picked me up, unloaded my suitcase, loaded it up themselves, then left on holidays. That night, I was sleeping on my stomach, and a possum came in through the window and landed on the soles of my feet. I'm guessing he had pushed through the fly screen while I was away and had been sleeping in my room. All I knew is something big and hairy landed on me. I lashed out, and he went flying across the room. I left pretty quick and slept on the couch. Another one didn't scare me, but the wife. I saw 2 or 3 baby huntsman spiders about the size of a pinhead outside my bedroom. I saw maybe a dozen more in my bedroom. Then I walked into my ensuite. Huntsmans have about 200 babies at a time, and the remaining 185 were all in there hanging out. The wife made me go out at 11 PM for bug spray, and still didn't sleep in the bedroom for another 4 nights. I once wandered toward the bathroom at 2 AM, flipped on the light to discover 200 of the little buggers on the hallway ceiling. Sprayed bug spray at them. They all started to rappel downwards on their spidery silky webs simultaneously. If I hadn't needed to use the lube for that, I certainly did afterwards. About 5 years ago I was fully envenomated by a king brown while working on a remote mine site in the Pilbara. I had all sorts of side effects from the antivenom, including blindness. It took 2 years to fully recover. I'd like to know more please. What was the first symptom of the venom you noticed? Of the venom itself. Photophobic headaches and nausea within about 5-10 minutes. Limited gross muscle movement and O2 saturation dropped after about an hour. I could feel the venom traveling through my system, particularly in my groin, kidneys and glands. Went into my shed, no lights, only to find out it was full of redbacks with webs in every corner. Now I am not scared of spiders, but holy Christ. Half a bloody dozen were crawling all over me. Lucky I had some friends that were more than happy to smack them off. Is a redback the same as a black widow here in the States, or are they different? I checked a reference some lovely Aussie posted in the comments, but I can't honestly tell. Edit. Spelling. No, but yes. Totally different species but function and look the same. Black body with wavy stripe versus hourglass. Unfortunately, while black widows are highly reclusive, almost always outside, and generally afraid of humans, redbacks give no fucks. Redbacks prefer residing in human dwellings, resist the cold, thus can be found on some form year-round. Though males and juvies are not as toxic, and frequently drop on humans instigating bites, they also fly on little balloons made of silk to disperse. Which sounds cute until you realize this means aerial warfare. Also they eat snakes and lizards. Edit. This has gotten some attention, so I'm going to drop some advice. Always know the venomous snakes and spiders of where you live. The DNR usually had an IT guide. It's the difference between is my dog going to die and calm down. It's a common brown house spider. A leech attached itself to my eyeball while I was hiking in the rainforest. My friends wanted to piss on it or light a match over it, but neither solution seemed ideal, so I waited while it wiggled about, filled up with blood, and finally dropped off an hour later. The following week I went on a date with one of the guys I met on that hike, even though I still had a zombie eye from the leech bite. 10 years on. Last year, he and I went back to the place where he first looked me in the eye with that leech wiggling about, and we were married in the rainforest with our friends standing by. Edit. Because you didn't want to see it, or did you? Imgur.com link. What your eyeball know? It didn't hurt though, right? I recently heard eyeballs themselves have no nerve endings in them. No pain, just the gentle flapping of the other end of the leech against my eyelid. 3 dingus rolled up on me and my sisters on Fraser Island. Dad chased them off with a big stick before they could do anything besides make all 3 of us shit ourselves. My sister-in-law got circled by dingus there and they herded her into the water. Luckily someone was walking along and chased them off. Had a few run-ins with brown snakes, but that's always a no shit. Stand still until they leave kinda situation. They mind their own business and usually just bail if they know you're there. Sure, they're super venomous, but from their point of view you're massive thing that might be a predator and they don't want to stick around to find out. The scariest wildlife encounter for me by far though was Billy. Billy was a huntsman that lived in my car's driver's side mirror. I'd see him every now and then. He'd usually crawl into the gap between the mirror and the casing whenever I opened the door, or just hang out on the mirror itself until I started the car and the vibration spooked him back into the mirror casing. He was chill, never really bothered me. Ate the previous tenants, smaller, less friendly spiders, and I'd like to think we were becoming fast friends. At the time I was working long hours at a nightclub and would head home at like 6 AM, usually dead on my feet. The drive home was always a blur. This particular morning I was in full routine mode. Get in the car, roll a cigarette, put down the window, light it, start the car, head home. While I was leaving the almost empty car park, Billy made his move. Billy climbed across from the mirror, through the open window and onto my dashboard before I even knew he was there. By the time I saw him, he was crawling onto my steering wheel and breaking every boundary we had set in our friendship. The mirror was his space. The car itself was mine. My knee-jerk sleep-deprived response was to jerk the wheel to get him off. And with my attention completely on Billy, I didn't see the one other person in the car park who was walking to their car. When jerking the wheel didn't move him, I flicked Billy off the wheel and straight back out the window. Did I hit the other person? No, I missed them by about 5 meters. But the scary parts here were that my gut reaction was to jerk the wheel, which is so ridiculously stupid, and that I didn't see the other person because I was distracted. I could have hit them. I got lucky, and it was a bit of a wake-up call for me about driving tired. I don't know the full story here, from Billy's perspective, but at the time it looked like he was pushed to his breaking point. In the moment I thought it was jealousy of how much space I had in the car compared to his little home in the mirror casing. But looking back on it, there are a lot of reasons he might have wanted to come in. He might have been cold, or curious, or just wanting to come say hi. He was a chill spider and really easy to get along with. I should have given him the benefit of the doubt. I regret my rash decisions because now I'll never know. I never saw Billy again after that morning, but I hope he's found another car to live in with someone who treats him right. In bed, felt something scutter over my chest, turned on the light, saw nothing. Then as I went to turn the light off, saw a giant fucking huntsman crawl under the mattress. I was so tired that I left it, but it still freaks me the fuck out. Giant fucking huntsman. Just left it. I love how casual that is. I would be stripping to my undies, smearing ketchup war paint on my cheeks and grabbing my chopstick harpoon. Yep, I had one crawl on my face when I was 8. I thought it was my doll's curly brown hair and kept brushing it away. I finally looked out the corner of my INC legs. I leapt straight from my bed out my door screaming blue bloody murder. I know they're harmless, but if they could just go about it unseen, I'd be happy with that. Jesus fucking Christ. You left it. I would have left the country. Shudder. Jesus Christ, thank you for triggering this wonderful childhood memory that I had joyfully buried deep into my subconscious until this moment. One of my childhood friends lived on a big farm in WA, and we'd spend most of the holidays staying at her place doing whatever farm related mischief 2 8-year-olds could get up to all day, then passing out like the dead. Anyway, one morning I woke up and she was sitting on the floor in the middle of the room staring at me. My immediate reaction was, what the shit are you doing? She pointed behind me at the biggest goddamn huntsman I had ever seen, a few inches from my head, just relaxing on the wall having a grand old time. I asked her why the fuck she didn't poke me and get me out of bed and preferably to another planet, far away from that monstrosity, and she replied, because a minute ago it was on your face. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button for more high quality content.